up, everybody? It's Soren Baker here on Unique Access, and today we have the honor of being joined by O.C. You know, I'm a longtime fan, and it's the first long, real extensive interview, first ever interview with him, even though I've written about him and reviewed his music and a lot of his collaborators over the years. This is a exciting thing for me. So he's put out so much music over the years, so we're going to get to some of it, and maybe if we don't get all of it, which I doubt we will, well, I did do a part 2 if he's available. But
right.
I kind of want to go, since you do have a lot of stuff, and some of the, as I was thinking about your catalog, some of the older stuff, sadly, is relevant today, especially the political topics. So I did kind of want to go chronologically, but for those that haven't, be sure to check out the Ozone, the rare demos and unreleased tracks that he put out recently, because there's a lot of excellent music, and some of the stuff we're going to talk about today is included on there, but that's also new. So the myth is people don't put out new music. They do, and OC is one that's been steadily putting out music, you know, since the 90s, and we got to support. We got to support and celebrate that, man. So
exactly.
Before we go all the way back with the Ozone Files, what made that something that, you know, in 2019, 2020, you wanted to put out and be promoted?
Just to get people who are not familiar with me in this day and age, you know, like my back history, a lot of that stuff is pre-Word Life demo stuff. So, you know, some people don't know who I am, which is cool. I don't mind being categorized as a new artist to people who don't know me, but you know, just to let people know, everybody has a backstory. So I didn't come out of nowhere. I have an extensive catalog, solo-wise and crew-wise. Like, you know, so people, for me, man, music is so disposable now. So don't mind me, I'm gonna jump all over the place. But it's just so disposable for me, man. Like to look at my stuff in my catalog. It's current now. It's just current. It's everyday stuff.
Absolutely. And that's one of the many reasons I wanted to talk to you. And I also think it's important to show that, you know, some of the music that was made that was made in the 90s and the 80s and, you know, back since the beginning of recorded music is sadly still relevant today. And we're going to get into that because the music is timeless. And you had the Bon Appetit with J-Core when Master Ace had Disposable Arts. So that's how, you know, he was one of the people that I remember first looking at music as disposable. And someone that made a brilliant album explaining that and how society looks at the music, at Black people, at how rap is, and just how people don't really respect it as an art. And that's something that I think is terrible, but it's sadly been that way since the music was created. And, well, long before it was. But
well, here's the thing. People don't understand or make sense of what's going. The music is still young. Like people always say old school, or you know, if I run into a youngin that's younger than me and they say, "Oh yeah, you're old school rap," it's like, wow, like this is probably the most youngest form of music out here. Like it's not even 50 years old.
Right. Well, remember on Still Number One, rap as a whole isn't even 20 years old with KRS-One. Boogie Down Productions, because 50 years down the line will spark this. We'll be the old school artists, you know?
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Like, I mean, it's been around, but as far as being in the music business, it's still young.
Yeah, that didn't really happen until 79. So
exactly.
And before that, the business of it was the party and the, you know. Now.
Yeah, it's still young. So, you know, I smile when I hear that, or you know, a young guy or young girl tell me that, I just smile at them because I'm like, damn, like, you calling me old, so what do you, if you hear somebody by the name of Kool Herc or somebody, like, what do you consider them?
Right.
Ancient?
Yeah. Well, with Word Life, let's start there. Well, first, what did you learn before Word Life from Organized Konfusion, since you had worked with them and been around them, that kind of prepared you for what you were going to experience with Word Life?
To find my own voice. March and Prince did not give me no free pass. Like, I did my own demos, which you talked about with the ozone files. All that stuff I was doing on my own. So in the midst of all that, Pharaoh and Prince were recording music and writing for people, and they went by a name called Simply Too Positive before they was Organized Konfusion. So I seen the inception of everything, but I used to sound like them, being around them and being, their little dude. I used to sound like them, and they used to be like, nah, man, like, find your own voice. And I used to get upset, and my feelings used to get hurt, but I understand that now. You know what I'm saying? Like, they was like, yo, we didn't take you on to sound like us. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's not cool. It wasn't cool to bite. It sounded exactly like, other people. So they just taught me to be, I guess, unconsciously independent when it comes to music and finding my own voice. You know what I'm saying? And it's still like that to this day. That's always gonna be my mentors. You know what I'm saying? To this day, Prince and March. If I play them something, they, man, it's cool. And it's like, word, all right. And I do it back to them now, being that I have a little, experience in the game. And they play me stuff, and I'll be like, it's all right. And we just laugh at that because they know it's not coming from a bad place. But, at the end of the day, man, I just learned to be my own voice dealing with those two cats. Just have my own voice.
Yeah, and tied into that, they are, I think, extremely underrated as far as like story concepts and story rhymes and looking at things, whether it's the power of the gun or being in vitro or releasing hypnotical gases. They just have all these very distinctive and different ways. And of course, more so Pharaoh, since he has a lot more solo stuff that's been released. But why do you think Organized Konfusion, they don't really get looked at for stories in the upper echelons like the Slick Ricks, like the Dana Danes, like the Ice Cubes?
Because we in the music business. It's about who's hot and who's not. Like, it's sad. It's sad, but that's just what it is. I always say, and I come to terms with it. People are gonna appreciate me when I'm gone. People are gonna appreciate me more when I'm gone. That's just how it is. It's always been like that with artists through history. And you have the Nas's, you have the Jay-Z's, you got the Biggies, you got all these people. But I always tell people, to me, it's no such thing as the best, man. But it's too many artists to categorize that. You know what I'm saying? And I think everybody has their pocket, like as far as what year, at what moment, at what time. Like, everybody has their pocket. So with them, I think Pharaoh is just catching up to himself right now. I told people, like, yo, he's been rhyming like that since I moved to Queens, and that was in 87, 88. He's just now catching up. Like, him and Prince been doing what they've been doing since I've known them.
Right. It's phenomenal. It's really phenomenal. And I think that similar to you, I think all the different labels and all the different things that happened, they didn't get in that consistent pocket to where they were able to really accelerate and get to maybe where they could have gotten as far as acclaim and popularity and sales and all that, because they had a lot of great material. But let's move on to some of your stuff. So with Word Life, one thing I've always wanted to ask you that I don't think a lot of people talk about, or at least I haven't heard in a long time, was the Serch life aspect of it. So what role did MC Serch play with the project getting the wild pitch, and what was that?
You know, for the people who don't know and for the few people who do know, Serch had a production company, Searchlight Music. He signed me. He signed Nas first, and he signed me second. I met Serch on the very first Source tour, touring with Organized Konfusion. The tour was with Ray Benzino, Roxanne, Shantae, Biz, Lord Finesse. You know, Buck Wild was on the road with Finesse at the time. That's how I intertwined with Digging. And Serch thought I was signed to Prince in March. And he found out I wasn't, and he was just like adamant about, yo, that third kid, and I'm standing right there like, that's me. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, we got cool. Fast forward, I did the Fudge Pudge with March and Prince video, for second single, and nothing came about it afterwards. Like, yo, it took me like 3 years to get a deal.
Right.
And prior to, you know, after coming off the tour with March and Prince, and, you know, we got cool, me and Serch, you know, he signed me to his production company. And yo, nobody would touch me. Nobody would touch Nas at first either. They said
I remember that.
Actually sound like knockoffs of G-Rap and Rakim. This is Russell Simmons. This is whoever Serch is taking the demos to. Oh, they sound like knockoffs of Kane, Rakim, and G-Rap. So finally, you know, Nas things start clicking a little bit, and still nothing for me. At that point, I was like, yo, I don't even want to do the music no more. Like, I was done. And it just so happens that Serch got a call from Stu Fine, who owned Wild Pitch. Stu Fine had got a distribution deal with EMI. And, you know, Stu asked Serch would he become, you know, whatever talk they had, he become vice president of Wild Pitch or president. And he took the offer, and he came at me and was like, yo, would you be willing to do a deal with Wild Pitch? And I was like, you know, until the paperwork is in front of my face, you know, it's just you blowing smoke up my ass, so whatever. And sure enough, he brought the contracts to me. You know, I got me a lawyer, and it was history from there. But it took 3 years. So if you think about it, everything from Ozone Files to Ozone Files, in between them 3 years, I was doing demos with Buck. So half of the stuff that's on Word Life is basically demo stuff.
And he, you know, produced the majority of the album. So what sonically for you, and then stylistically for him, what do you think made you guys work so well together?
We was forced to. Nobody would touch me. No other producers would touch me either.
Oh, wow.
And I ain't saying no names, but we're friends now. But a lot of them cats would not, quote unquote, fuck with me.
Wow.
Word.
That's a very interesting thing. Especially, well, we'll get to that a little bit later then, because that's a lot of layers to that.
In the beginning, hip-hop was ruled by the East Coast. Then the West Coast rose to prominence, thanks to gangster rap.
Straight out of Compton, crazy motherfucker named Ice Cube.
Hip-hop changed the world. Gangster rap changed the narrative.
I'm representing for the gangsters all across the world.
And then changed the world again.
Cause I'll come and take your life away.
The history of gangster rap features unheard stories, unseen photos and documents, all with exclusive interviews from the founders and players who shaped gangster rap.
I think a real gangster rapper has to scare you a little bit.
The history of gangster rap, written by veteran rap journalist Soren Baker. In stores now.
Yo, what up? This is DJ Quick. Be sure to pick up my homeboy Soren Baker's book, The History of Gangster Rap, if you really want to know what we do.